Welcome, wrestling friends, to another edition of Smarknado. Long time no see. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, Dan Aconda, Dan Sesnit. Dan, didn't mention you were dirty. You actually look quite clean tonight, so I omitted the dirt.
No, I'm dirty. It's for sure. I just got out of work, so I still have the barbecue stank on me. But that's okay. Um,
I wish
I
my
forgive you.
my work smelled like barbecue sometimes. Just smells like
Yeah,
paper and misery.
you know, you would think you had a cool job considering the department you work for, but it is still an
Hey,
office job
kayfabe.
at the end of
I'm a
it.
full-time podcaster, kayfabe.
Okay, fam.
Yes. Anyway, guys, glad to be back here. I know that we were on a
Yes.
little bit of a break. So let's just get into the stuff we've really enjoyed in the last few weeks in wrestling. While the
Yeah.
rest of the world burns, wrestling is shining as bright as ever. And I think that
Yeah.
is just in these sad and often very hopeless times that we're living in right now. God, you know what keeps us going? How good professional wrestling is. And thank God I have such gratefulness for being a wrestling fan at this time and also for the friends that I have that also enjoy this beautiful, great sport, professional wrestling.
It's the sport of kings in my humble opinion, but
Yes.
seriously though, there is good stuff coming at us from left, right, up, down, and I watched as much as I could, be it that we're very busy people, but
Hmm.
I think we're gonna start off with one of the more recent big shows, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. This was GCW's return to the Hammerstein Ballroom. And I feel like their backs were against the wall considering the Hammerstein show that happened a couple of years ago. That was a little bit of a catastrophe. I think a lot of it had to do with a lot of the things they couldn't do that you could normally do in a GCW ring, and um, a variety of things just kind of went down the last time they were at Hammerstein. But
It was a bit of
not
a
saying it
dud.
was perfect this time around, but it was certainly a much better show. We got a lot of really great matches. Um, I think the first thing that we want to talk about, just to kind of get the bad of the show out of the way, one of the most unfortunate things, which you could make an argument, strong argument, probably the best argument, that this is the biggest feud in GCW right now between Effie and Alley Catch. And
Yeah.
they had this amazing promo package for it. You kind of got the entire story right away. Um,
Mhm.
and unfortunate things happen in professional wrestling. It's anything can go wrong at any time. And this is where we saw it go wrong, where Allie went for a suicide dive, and the way she landed, she twisted her ankle in an unfavorable way. I'm not going to elaborate on the details. If you want to see for yourself, it's online. But nonetheless, she is on the mend. She had to open up a GoFundMe for several $1,000s of, medical bills, which is just the unfortunate truth in this country. But I was thankful for the fact that I believe that she did meet her goal, and everybody donated enough for her to be able to bounce back. But you hate to see this happen, especially with somebody that is one of the top five biggest stars in GCW on such a big stage, the biggest feud in GCW, and the unfortunate happens. Dan?
Biggest feud. I won't say they're the most recognizable people on the roster because there are still people like Matt Cardona on there
That are
who
on
is still,
television.
yeah. So but for GCW hardcores, this is as big a feud as there is, and Ali is as beloved, uh, babyface or heel that the company has, and Effie is as big a name as there is in
Yeah,
independent wrestling.
absolutely, man.
Yeah. So
Um, so who knows? Maybe Effie was supposed to win this all along. But nonetheless, Allie got the medical attention that she needed. We didn't really get to see this, and I wish her a speedy recovery and all the best. We all do.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Um,
Same. Yeah.
so another controversial thing that happened actually in the pre-show here on the GCW show was the battle royal that took place between a bunch of GCW stars that are usually on the undercard, and surprise entrant was PCO, comes out, ends up winning, last eliminating Shane Mercer, and he proceeds to kind of go into business for himself. He brought the TNA Digital Media Championship with him, which came to find out later that his contract in TNA had run out. But he was going to agree to do their next set of tapings, which didn't end up happening because of this incident. So he took the TNA Digital Media Championship, put it on a steel chair, and I believe he took like a hammer or something and just started like destroying it in the middle of the ring, and wanted to cut a promo on like TNA management and stuff like that. You could see it in MLJ's eyes how uncomfortable he was and how it was not supposed to be happening. And I guess this was a total shoot that happened.
I actually skipped the pre-show, so I didn't see this. I had read about it later on. No, I didn't see it. And there's going to be stuff that I have to go back and watch again because I piecemealed watching most of this show, unfortunately. But I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I love to see a good psychotic rant out of left field.
I mean, I feel like he said a little bit, but he didn't really get to fully get going because I think they all realized, oh, this isn't in the format. He can't be doing this.
And they cut him. Okay.
By the way, we weren't covering it tonight, but TNA happened that same night. I think just a quick note that we should acknowledge right now is that Joe Hendry won the TNA championship. Considering the partnership now, that's pretty official between TNA and WWE.
Yeah.
Don't you see Joe Hendry coming out in the Royal Rumble now?
Probably.
Yeah.
I expected it originally anyway. But yeah.
I just feel like the title win solidifies it.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, back to GCW land. Looking at this card, and I think that the matches, maybe not necessarily like the best matches from bell to belt, if you really broke them all down, but I think that the 6-man tag matches on this show really stole it. The first of which being Desperados, Erez, Gringo Loco, Jack Cartwheel against the ECW originals, Lil Guido, Super Crazy, Tajiri. I think that was just such a treat. Everybody was just like, holy shit, these guys can still do it. And they're doing it in the place that they made their names for themselves, those legendary triple threat matches between those guys in the heyday of ECW. So I thought it was just so great seeing them, and Super Crazy can still go. Obviously, he jumped off a balcony, did a moonsault off a balcony.
Because why wouldn't you?
Tajiri still has, chef's kiss handspring elbow that he does.
Yep.
And we already knew Guido could still work because he did some stuff with Tony D'Angelo in NXT earlier this year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, did you get to see this match, Dan?
I saw part of it. I didn't see the whole thing. It was
you
said that the triple threat stole the show. I think the GCW World Tag Team Championship match stole the show for me.
No, what I was saying was the triple threat matches that Tajiri, Little Guido, and
okay.
Super Crazy would have back in the day in ECW.
Okay.
At the Hammerstein Ballroom. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. I
love the World Tag Team title match. Garbage Daddies finally defeated Violence is Forever to become the GCW Tag Team champions. It was time. Violence is Forever had a great run, you know. And Garbage Daddies are over. People love Cole Radrick already. He's been in GCW for so long now, and I can't
for
like 6
long.
years. And
he was there the last show that I was at here in Charlotte, and that was 4 years ago.
I want to say like Cole has been there since like 2019, man.
Yeah, forever, man.
Real long time. And of course Alec Price, who we were lucky enough to kind of see on the come up in the Northeast, and to see where he is at right now on top of the world, getting his due. It's great to see. It's gratifying to see. And
I would love to see.
Great tag team title run in GCW. You know,
I would love to see them
for
on
over
a
year.
TV somewhere. I don't care. I think that they're a tag team that should be in the mix on TV somewhere, be it AEW or TNA or even NXT. Really, like,
You
I don't
know
know,
where
man.
I think I would like to see them the most?
Where's that?
New Japan.
Okay,
It's like joining
I
a
mean,
faction, you know.
I could see that.
I think that it would be better for their style, and I just think that they kind of fit into, I don't
Yeah.
know, being members of the War Dogs or something, or United Empire, you know. It'd be we'll see though. We'll see. But I do want to talk about the other 6-man tag team match that happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
The real effing pros, the most obnoxious trio possible, which is Tony Deppen, Griffin McCoy, and Kerry Morton. And Kerry Morton,
I
I
love him.
hate to say it, bro. I
He's
hate
so
to say
good.
it. I like him.
He's good.
He's
He's
just
really
such
good.
a little fucking shit, and he knows how to play it so well.
He's really good at what he does. And
Yeah.
he was another one that was actually at the show that I saw down here, and he was cutting those kind of promos then.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, man, like I knew who he was because he's the son of who he's the son of, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I had heard of him, but I'd still been like, okay,
He's just a good
who are
old
you?
school heel.
He's great at it. He's
Yeah.
great at it.
Yeah.
And so is Tony Deppen.
Oh, Deppen's great. Deppen's just great at being like a fucking scumbag,
Yeah.
you know? And Griffin McCoy just so cocky and arrogant. Of course, they faced the New York City OGs, Homicide, Grim Reaper, and Amazing Red. And what a treat it is to see those guys, you know. That's what made this show so beautiful. I think these two 6-man tag team matches, it was a mix of, you know, the present versus the past. And you're mixing the future in there too, and it was just really great book show overall. Amazing Red, of course, getting the announcement coming out that he's going to be a member, the newest inductee of the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, of course. I'll never forget just the viral video of him versus Low Key in Ring of Honor going around back in the early 2000s. Have you ever seen that fighting sequence of those two?
Not that I can recall. I'll look it up though.
I'm gonna have to send you that just because like it's a classic. It was, I think the call from the announcer was just like, what in the Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon is this shit? Like the sequence that they were doing was fucking insane. But I love Amazing Red. I think that he is such a pioneer of the modern style, and he needs to get his recognition. Give this man his flowers, because he has trained some of the best that are in the industry today. I mean, like, you look at Private Party, you look at LAX, you look at Mike Santana right now, who's about to take over TNA. He's a product of the Amazing Red. And then even on this show too, you look at Charles Mason, right?
Yeah, I couldn't wait to talk about Charles Mason. I love
dude. First of all, the video package that they had with him, and he basically murders the prison guard, or who was it? It was like someone that worked for the police he murdered.
Yeah,
like the concierge.
His gimmick is that he murders poor people. Like,
yes.
I absolutely
and
love
the wild thing about this too is that they built this feud for him to be the babyface,
and the crowd ate it up.
I know.
Like, he's a literal murderer, and they're like, nope, we like snitches less.
And I think that's also a testament, not only like Charles Mason, the character and everything is brilliant, but it's also a testament just to how on fire Richard Holiday has been with this character, and he's just turning it up another level. He's just somebody who, to me, is just a mystery as to why he's not on television every single week. He needs to at the very least get a WWE ID contract or something, because this he's the full package. And over the past year, he has shown that he has developed like a very like defined character of just being an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah. And didn't he come up as a babyface?
No, he was always kind of a heel. The thing is though, when he came back about a little bit over a year ago, he was just coming back because he overcame cancer. So when he came back, he was a babyface because he was a sympathetic babyface for the real life situation.
Sure.
But over time, he developed, and he's back into this character that he is right now, which is great. And this steel cage match was awesome overall. Love that we got the return of Slade in this. So that dude is a fucking psychopath.
And he's literally the perfect, heater for Charles Mason. Yeah,
man. This was fucking cool. The things I want to mention: Sidney Hakim and El Hijo del Vikingo. I mean, that really speaks volumes for how they see Sidney Hakim. And honest to God, the former Reggie we're talking about right now, guys, from WWE, / Scripps. He is so fucking talented.
Really talented. And it surprises me because it doesn't surprise me because it's WWE and they take one thing and run with it, and then that's his gymnastic background, but the dude can wrestle.
Yeah, and it's a testament to him too, because like you don't see a lot of guys just take over the indies like this after just being WWE trained. And like I feel like he just took to wrestling very, very well. And you put him in there with someone like Vikingo, they had some wild spots and everything. Did it get a little bit lost in the shuffle due to like a lot of the same styles happening in one night? I think a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
But the fact is they had him beat Vikingo, and that's really speaks to how they see him, and he's gonna be shot up to the moon. And it's good on Vikingo for being able to do the job.
Yeah, that was just wild to me because Vikingo was at one point
like the face of AAA wrestling.
Yeah, and talked about his top 5 in the world.
Yeah,
and he's taken a pin from a guy, who does not have that kind of esteem.
Yeah,
right. So, good on.
He took a pin from the sommelier.
Basically, yeah. So, but no, I thought it was a really fun match that you put it well. It got lost in the shuffle because of how much was going on in this show.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm happy for the former Baron Corbin, Tom Pistok. I just found the Bloodsport match to be a little bit boring. It was just it was a lot of ground stuff and not enough just like action in the stand-up position. So I wasn't really a big fan of it. I am happy that like he's finding his footing and he's going to be in a good position wherever he ends up.
He changed his name. He has a new wrestling name. Did you see it?
Isn't it like it's like Bishop Dyer?
Something like that. Yeah.
Don't like it.
I don't like it that much either. He should have just stuck with his name. Like, I mean, it's not the coolest name, but whatever.
I thought it was a terrible name because I thought it was pronounced P-Stock. And then I heard them announce it as Pestock. And I was like, oh, that's actually not that bad. You
just wanted to call him Tom P-Stock.
Tom P-Stock that's terrible, bro.
Yo, he had to learn how to fight because he probably got called P-Stick when he was a little kid.
Yeah. Who knows? Other matches, Joey and Masato Tanaka had a great match. They couldn't really compete with everything else, but it was great for what it was. Megan Bayne and Atticus Kogar. My biggest takeaway from this is obviously, you know how I feel about Megan Bayne. I think she's a star.
No, I was going to say, why don't you tell us again?
Did I not get one
the
over
all,
on you guys when in the
the
second week of
all
2025 she debuts on AEW?
when I tell you the all caps we got in the group chat, folks, when she debuted.
I told you guys to suck it.
Yes, he very much told us all to suck it in all caps.
Yeah.
But I think that my uh one to watch out for this year won the championship within the first week of the year too. So I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was that?
Julia.
Oh yeah. Right. Of course. Yeah, a lot happening on NXT too. We're not really talking much about that.
So
But
much.
yeah. I just liked ultimately we got Jimmy Lloyd. He's finally not a little broski anymore. He turned on Cardona. And of
Yeah.
course, the way that this show ended, Effie defeated Mance Warner. And I really think that this match was more about the moment than the actual match itself.
Yes.
I can't help but think that, the situation with Allie earlier in the night just kind of put a damper on Effie, probably on Mance's mood as well. But we got the great moment of Effie finally winning the GCW championship, which is great. Funny enough, a couple days later, we see Mance Warner show up in TNA. So, great things coming out of this too, and I'm very happy for Effie being the face of GCW.
I love Mance Warner too. I don't think that dude gets enough due for how good he has been. Because he was just like a rah-rah. I don't want to say rah-rah baby face, but like his character, you know what he was, right?
Yeah, he was a good old boy and doing the right
boy.
thing and stuff,
Yeah, and he just took to this heel character like a fish to water, and has just been fantastic at it. So, and he had a good, title run too in GCW. So,
absolutely,
I'm glad that he got on TNA. I didn't see it myself. You had just mentioned it to me via text, but he's definitely one to watch out for because he is definitely a good heel. What did he do on TNA?
He attacked Sami Callihan, and he's been revealed as Steph DeLander. So Steph DeLander got the Digital Media Championship that PCO destroyed as a settlement of her divorce with PCO, because the storyline PCO and her were like married on TNA.
Oh God, who is writing for them?
I know. So she was like a fucking someone saw her and was just like, "Oh, you look like Elvira. You'd be a great bride for." Bride of Frankenstein. Anyway, yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I should watch TNA, and then you tell me things like that, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't watch TNA.
Well, I mean, PCO isn't there anymore. Hey, for what it's worth, the show for TNA last night was actually pretty decent.
Okay.
Can't lie. And it was the first live show in like 8 years.
Really?
Fraxium versus the Rascals happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also in the main event, it was Joe Hendry defending against Cardona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Might have to go and find that.
Access TV, I guess it's on. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I have so many different streaming services. I can find it somewhere.
Yeah. Whew. But yeah, GCW. This is somebody else said this on a podcast, and I can't help but feel the same way. Like I've just been so out of GCW for so long that it's like shows like this are like my same thing as like your New Japan return when you watch Wrestle Kingdom. You think you're gonna like get back into it, you're caught up on everything, and then let's see if we follow through with GCW, because I'm already not following through with New Japan.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, you have to be able to smack me in the face every week, and I have to know where I'm going to be able to find you, or else I'm not going to watch you. It's hard. Yeah. It's just too hard. I mean, that's why we primarily talk about WWE and AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no doubt about it.
Whoo! Speaking of AEW,
yeah,
hell of a segue. Hell of a segue.
Absolutely.
Dynamite last night.
You mean 2 nights ago?
2 nights ago. I forgot we're recording on Friday because why not? Different world.
Yeah.
I thought this was a lot better than I think you guys thought it was, because nobody talked about it in the group chat at all.
I feel like it started pretty strong, but there were moments where the show kind of got away from itself.
Okay. Well, it
My
started
opinion.
off with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega face to face.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to see that, right? Like, but then as they were about to trade blows, we get the Don Callis music.
Yeah, and it's I think you know, I liked that Osprey was trying to get Kenny to be on his side, and Kenny immediately was like, "Wait, you did this, this, and that, and try to end my career, so fuck you. We're not friends."
And then he acted like a asshole right back to him. So
Yeah,
like, but we got the end result. You know, the obvious brawl where they were reluctant allies, but turned into friends. Now, go ahead.
so can I speak on this?
Sure, speak away. That's what we're here
All
for.
right. Yeah, that's why we're on this podcast. But so I couldn't help but think at first, like, oh, they're suddenly friends. That is so fucking stupid. And I was just like, like this is so dumb. And then I kind of like rewatched the segment and saw how everything came together, and also realized that Kenny Omega and his aura and his mystique and like the way that like he's being presented, it's almost like kind of like a silly action movie from the 90s.
Oh yeah,
So in the same way that like it would happen in a silly action movie from the 90s, the two guys that don't see eye to eye bond over a moment of kicking ass with each other and
yeah.
then
Like
like gain each other's trust. And then I was just like, you know what? Like I feel like that kind of presentation happens a lot with Kenny Omega's character, and I'm actually all right with it.
it
You
was
know, like
corny,
you
but it was
can't
super
really think
fun.
about it in the most logical way as much as it is like you kind of have to suspend your disbelief and think about it through that kind of lens of
Well,
a silly action
that's
movie.
that's what you have to do with all of professional wrestling. Like, and that's the problem with a lot of, you know, podcasters and wrestling media and us at
That get
times.
too analytical.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be fun and stupid and silly, and it is. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And this was a fun and silly segment. You know what I mean? It started off serious, but then they do a promo from halfway up the lighting rig, like,
Yeah.
and Kenny says he's scared of heights. Like, it was just fun and silly at the end, and like
Yeah.
it
Not to
ends in a
mention all the dives that they did off the balconies. You know, Osprey doing the big moonsault and
and it's gonna end in a fucking banger of a match, right?
yeah,
Like,
and we're getting
so
Osprey and Omega against Takeshita and Fletcher.
yeah, it's gonna absolutely fuck around and be awesome.
Yeah.
So it did exactly what it had to do.
Yeah. And I will say about this too, even though they're facing the Don Callis family right now, I did like the acknowledgement that they made to the Death Riders and what a threat they are to the company and how they're going to make it a point to go after them after they're done with the Don Callis family. So I like seeing that from the top guys right now because, like I've said, and like I've been very critical of before, I think the Death Riders storyline needs more star power. Copeland certainly helps with it right now, but you know the big guys need to be concerned about what that group is doing
I'm
as a whole
telling you,
AEW. You know,
the Death Riders storyline needs Eddie Kingston, is what it needs.
yeah,
Like, to me, like that's, and if Eddie Kingston comes back on some bullshit, I'm gonna be pissed. Like,
right.
I'm gonna be
And
I'm
you
gonna be
know,
pissed if they throw him in some fucking stupid storyline that doesn't make any sense. And I
sounds like
know that,
somebody I know that made a comeback recently, which I want to talk about.
and that's the perfect time. Go ahead, because I know what you're gonna say, and I think I'm gonna slightly disagree with you. But go ahead.
Okay, fucking hate Samoa Joe coming back directly being a part of the Christian storyline with Hook, picking up on that whole thing. Again, like this is just something that like I feel like it's gone on for too long at this point, the Christian and Hook thing, and it just hasn't ended, and it hasn't really developed that well, and it just seems like a dead end. And I want to see Joe be pissed about what's happening to this country, and
Oh,
and go
Freudian
after
slip.
the Death Riders. Like it's a preference thing, man. And I see Joe as a big star, and I feel like he is lowering himself in a way, being a part of this feud.
Yes and no. It's where he left off, so I don't have a problem with that being what he comes back to, because because everything going on with the Death Riders and the title picture is already a clusterfuck as it is. So if
Yeah,
you just jam him in there, to me, I don't think that that's doing it any favors. Let him settle the Christian Hook beef, and then move on to something like that.
for
But
sure, for sure. Yeah. Um.
so
So I
all right.
figure right now you probably want to talk about the tag title match, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to talk. I think I kind of touched on the title picture and what Mox talked about. I think it's a mess. I don't love that Copeland is going to be the guy going after the title. I just don't. I want the title out of the Death Riders. You know.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big enough star though for it to feel big.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not that interested in it. It does nothing for me. But yeah,
So, World Tag Team Championship match. I just have a question for you, Dan. Was there any doubt that you had in your mind that Shelton and Lashley were going to win this?
zero,
Yeah,
less than
me
zero.
neither. I feel like the crowd was even just like I found myself on my phone and shit, just because like Private Party, they're not a threat to these two,
They
and I
they
I, I
were
like Private Party a lot, but God, are they just not a threat to these two fucking specimens?
they were booked like complete dog shit in their title run. And I'll say that completely honestly because I don't remember a single match.
I remember the win.
Yeah,
I remember the
that's
win
it.
against the Young Bucks.
But what did they do?
And
Did
I
they
feel
have
like a
a?
lot of other times, like if they defended the tag titles, they defended against like Andretti and Leo Rush on Collision.
Oh yeah, I was actually there for that and I forgot about it.
That's kind of funny. Um, yeah. So anyway, new tag team champions, as you would expect, with
I love
Bobby
it.
Lashley, Shelton Benjamin.
Let them run down the whole fucking tag team division. The division is dog shit anyway. They might as
And I
well just
mean,
beat the
it's
ever
yeah,
loving piss out of everybody.
yeah. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. They still need to repair it.
How? How at this point?
Um, just start fucking featuring tag team matches more often on like Dynamite. I feel like a lot of the pure tag team matches get relegated to Collision a lot.
Yeah,
They don't really put a spotlight on anything or like have any like real meaningful feuds in the tag team division either.
they don't.
No.
That's the problem. It's thrown together teams and bad
Mhm.
tag title runs.
Yeah, and it's great that like FTR has a storyline right now, but that's all tied into Copeland's situation with the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
let's talk about how weird and lame the whole Jeff Jarrett thing is. Okay.
How many times? How many times do I have to see this back and forth for a feud I don't care about?
Fucking, you're telling me, man. I have no excitement for this whatsoever. Let me just say, like, Jeff Jarrett, yeah, he's overstayed his welcome for a long time. I will say, like, the run that he had over the summer when he was in the Owen Hart tournament, yeah, feel good moment. And I let him, we all kind of, gave him grace.
Yeah.
And do his thing. Even going as so far as like his feud with Hangman. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why we were tolerant of those things happening was because Jeff Jarrett was put in there as somebody who was going to get the other talent over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is like a storyline to get Jeff Jarrett over. Like, come on.
At
You know,
first, when he first came out and he said that he wanted to have like his write-off year, whatever, I was all for it. But it's gone too far. Like
yeah.
I don't need
You want to be the
multiple
champion? Get the fuck out of here.
like no thank you. No thank you.
I think that like even John Cena has said like he doesn't even care about winning another championship.
Well, we all want John Cena to win another championship. I think that that's universal, right? So he passes Ric Flair.
You know what? Yeah, our spiteful asses right now, yes, because
Yeah.
Ric Flair deserves it.
Mm-hmm. And I think he'll have one. I think my gut tells me he will eventually.
Yeah, I
Before
see it too. But he was greeted by Claudio when he started making a challenge to John Moxley, and Claudio beat him up, and Jeff Jarrett is going to face Claudio next week, and I guess a world title shot's on the line, and it's just like you're going to have Jeff Jarrett beat Claudio.
I mean, the only way I see it happening is by DQ
or a lot of interference, like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't do this to this man. Claudio is like an abused dog from WWE, and then they took him in, and he's been given a new life and everything, and then like, oh, you have to job to Jeff Jarrett.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think that that's gonna happen. I don't. If in the year of our Lord 2025, Jeff Jarrett gets a title match, I don't know, man. Wrestling is really good, but that might make it really bad.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. So after this, we had Swerve versus AR Fox, which good match. Two dudes that really know each other.
Yeah.
Predictable outcome. But we had a continuation of the Ricochet Swerve feud. Ricochet pops up on the big screen. Ultimately, threatening Nana with the scissors that he opened Swerve up with. I love this version of Ricochet, man. Like, even with the stupid laugh intact, I think he's killing this character.
Yeah. I say just let him cook right now with what he's doing, and I can't wait to see the match between these two.
I wonder, we'll probably get that at Revolution, I assume.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the next pay-per-view, but that's not until March. Wait, when is Grand Slam Australia?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe then.
I can't remember.
I can't either. I got so much going on in my brain.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, friend. Yeah. So if you don't mind me just kind of taking over from here.
Go ahead.
Hobbs is going to be facing Big Bill, it looks like. I thought that Hobbs had a great performance last week for the AEW championship, and it's a shame that he's just kind of being thrown back into kind of nothing situations. Because I think that he's somebody that could become one of their biggest stars if they really gave him the time and gave him enough to like really convey a compelling character to the audience, especially with his life story and everything. And but yeah, Big Bill's great too, and it looks like they may be teasing like a split between Jericho and Big Bill.
They should tease a split between Jericho and AEW. Period. That would be fantastic.
And Brian Keith, for that matter. Brian Keith getting away from Jericho. That is.
Oh yeah. That it's run its course. I'm over it.
Yes, Absolutely. Then we had an MJF segment that happened here. Yeah, he just addressed Jeff Jarrett again, and then Hangman came out, and this also led to Hangman having an interaction with Christopher Daniels, and I think it's worth us talking about how good that fucking Texas Death Match was on Collision this past week. This was
Fantastic.
Daniels' last match, man.
Yeah.
I truly got the feels for it, considering that he came out with the original Fallen Angel robe, the original Fallen Angel sunglasses. The fucking music sounded a little bit like Disposable Teens by Marilyn Manson, which is what it used to come out to.
Yeah, I'm sure that was on purpose. Shout out
Yeah,
Mikey
and
Ruckus.
God, I mean, I love that Daniels was just able to. He was able to play his greatest hits in this extremely violent and bloody match. It was just kind of poetic that he. It was truly a match that like gave the message of this is a 52-year-old man, and he's fighting for his life right now, and he's going to give it everything that he has left in the entire tank until he has nothing left. And I think that that's the story that they told in that match. Of course, Adam Page won,
Yeah.
but it led to this interaction right here. Which do you think that like Christopher Daniels ends up like being an advisor to Hangman and not really playing that role of the VP anymore?
I don't know where they're gonna go. I think they're probably gonna take Daniels off TV for a while and let
Yeah,
this be another thing that eats away at Hangman. And I mean, if there is a more layered character in all of wrestling, I would love for anybody to be able to point them out. Because like just the angst that he had in that moment, you know what I mean? Where Daniels told him that he was not going to wrestle again.
yeah,
Um, you could, I mean, he's just a fantastic actor. Like he's just really fucking good. And I say that not in a wrestling sense, but you know, the dude could definitely do Hollywood if he wanted to.
he's got chops
Yeah, he does.
for sure. And then we had a backstage segment with Mercedes Monet, and she is challenged to a match by the incredible Harley Cameron, who I don't think we mentioned before was in a segment prior with Mariah May where she kind of stole the segment. And she did it once again here, playing a song challenging Mercedes to a match. It is so cool to watch Harley get better every single week and become more of a necessary part of the show.
It's genuinely funny.
Yeah.
Like it's not wrestling funny, it's genuinely funny.
She's hilarious. She's hilarious. She's an entertainer and she's meant to be on television.
Yes, it is genuinely funny stuff. And have her in more segments.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So Jamie Hayter, Julia Hart, what'd you think of it, Dan?
Loved it. I think these two have really good chemistry. You know, was it the best match I've ever seen? No, but I like the two of them. I like the ending. You know, the respect that was shown. I think it'll lead to a third match between the two, and I like that. I like having a women's feud that's not about a title. You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think soon enough, Harley Cameron's going to be challenging Mercedes. I think Jamie Hayter is going to be next up to challenge Mercedes. I think that Jamie is like the next like big match women's wrestler that Mercedes hasn't faced yet. So I see her being positioned as like the next one, and even possibly the one to take the championship from Mercedes. Could happen.
Maybe. I'd like to see the title come out of the Mariah May Tony Storm feud. I don't think it needs it. I think there's plenty of people that can hold that title in that division. But I understand why they keep it. It is arguably their two biggest stars outside of Mercedes.
And just touch on the work that Tony's doing right now with this character of being the happy-go-lucky rookie.
It's fantastic.
It's great. And you know how I think this is going to end? I think that she's going to end up winning the title, and she's going to turn back into Timeless, and she's going to tell everyone that she was acting. That she's like the greatest actress because she was acting like she was a rookie, and that was like one of the greatest roles she ever played.
Maybe, you know? or it's amnesia, or it's whatever it is. I trust that it's going to go well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just reading this sentence right now. Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart said they had no gods, no masters, just violence. When they bark together.
I don't know what happened with the rundown of the show, but it was a fantastic fucking vignette.
Maybe I should need to watch it.
You do.
It does. It just sounds stupid on paper, but it's probably awesome.
It's fantastic. Because I think, and well, Brody had his pit bull with him, and he cut a promo about how they are not going to have, they don't follow Malachi Black basically anymore. It was really fucking good.
Speaking of, I'm super hyped for Aleister Black being back on the WWE roster.
I assume he shows up at Royal Rumble.
I could see that. Either way, you know that Triple H loves him, and he's going to be presented in a much better manner than he wasn't. It's not that hard for him to be presented in a better manner than he was in AEW, because flat out, Tony dropped the ball. You didn't know what to do with him. I also heard that there were pitches that were being made to Malachi that he wasn't really agreeing to either. But I think that also speaks to there needs to be a good relationship between the booker and the talent, you know, and if you don't have that kind of cohesion, it's not going to work out. So I think he's going to be in a much better spot in WWE, I feel.
Maybe, but there's a lot going on there. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't immediately go right into the title picture. You know, where do you slot him? Hard to tell. But it's an easy way to start a feud by putting somebody in the Royal Rumble. So,
yeah. Of course, main event was Cope and Pac. They had a good match with each other.
They really did.
And that's
pretty
really all I got to say.
You know, it was a fireworks at the beginning of the show, firecrackers at the end. It was it was I would have rather seen those segments swapped, because I would rather see the heat end the show, but
the way that it ended like that, yeah.
It just was. It's the same fucking ending every week.
It is. It's just kind of a match of. It's usually like a match that's like relative to the main storyline that's going on right now, but it's not. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense. It's, you know, Cope's going after Moxley. He's going to go through his thugs. I get that, but you know, I guess I'm just not into the Death Rider storyline that much anymore, man. Like it just meandered along. I can't really defend it. I like all the characters and how they're being played. It's just not, the story's not going anywhere.
Yeah. And just like, I don't know. It's like a buzzkill. Those guys. They've become very House of Torture-esque. They take the wind out of the sails of like the fucking segment. You know what I mean?
I won't put them quite at that level. House of Torture is pretty bad.
I'm saying House of Torture-esque.
Okay. House of Torture-ish. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, real quick before we switch gears, I think it's worth mentioning. What do you think of the Claim breaking up?
I like it.
I
think
kind
it's
of like
time.
it too because I want to see what Bowens can do as a solo act.
I think he's going to be fantastic. He can cut a promo. The crowd loves him. He can wrestle his ass off. I think he is definitely an upper mid card talent if they wanted him to be such.
Yeah, and definitely somebody that would be good to take for like PR and morning shows and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Speaks so well and everything.
I think his ceiling is like TNT champion.
I think his ceiling is actually AEW champion. I'm not saying
Really?
that like right now. I'm talking about like over the course of his career. Like I can see him developing into becoming the AEW champion someday. I would say him right now. Yeah, I would say the ceiling is TNT champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's just WWE. We did talk about the first Raw, right? Did we touch on that?
I don't think that we ever did touch on it. To be completely honest with you,
I guess just to kind of summarize it, I thought that the first episode of Raw was just a bunch of PR bullshit.
Yeah. Trash.
The thing that left the bad taste in my mouth, as it did with others, was just kind of The Rock's disregard for the storyline that he had with Cody and making out like they're buddy, and this is just kind of like a big PR kissing ass thing for Netflix. And I get it from a business perspective. I get it from the perspective of WWE is trying to grab this new audience that is tuning in right now that has Netflix, that hasn't really watched wrestling before. Okay. But yeah, it just, I think the prevailing thing that left a bad taste in my mouth was The Rock buddy with Cody.
Yeah, I mean the whole show was bullshit. Like it was just bullshit filler, bullshit. Like I didn't even care for the matches.
The Raws that we've been used to lately, which have been really good for the most part.
Very good, but I'll give them credit. They righted the ship for the last couple. I can't say I watched through all of them, but I've definitely watched what I wanted to watch and made a point to. And that being, obviously, I don't think we've talked about it. We plan on it, but the debut of Penta, right? I think that the presentation, like you said, with Aleister Black coming back to the WWE, I think that's how Penta has been presented as a star, and he's gone over two pretty big names in WWE. And Pete Dunne is a Triple H guy.
Absolutely. And I think that they've knocked it out of the park with the debut of Penta, with the exception of the fact that they released his merchandise. They couldn't help themselves for some reason. They released his merchandise like earlier that day. And I just...
Oh, did they?
To me, it's like, God, I want the referee. I want the announcers to at least feel surprised with the debut.
Well,
they were excited. They were excited, but there was no like surprise element. You know what I mean?
Is that why Michael Cole said the worst kept secret? I didn't know that they released the merch earlier that day. I had no idea they did that, and I was like, why is he like basically talking about like Twitter rumors? You know what I mean?
It wasn't necessarily along those lines. It was for the fact that they released the merchandise. But yeah, fucking Penta is amazing, dude. And the first match that he had against Chad Gable, I love that people were running to comparisons of this to Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle from Rey Mysterio's pay-per-view debut back in the day in SummerSlam. I think like that was like 2002 or something. But yeah, they had wicked chemistry with each other. Gable deserves a lot of credit. Gable in character couldn't help but tweet like how much he enjoyed the match. It was pretty cool to see that. And of course, you're putting him with Pete Dunne. I think they faced each other before. I think didn't
they mentioned that they faced each other in Rev Pro.
Yeah.
on air, which is fucking bonkers to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a new era, man. It truly is. And
And it's funny to think that Mercedes Moné is a Rev Pro champion.
yeah. Yep.
And they mentioned Rev Pro on Raw. Like,
Mhm.
this is not the wrestling world we knew. Like,
No, I
5
mean
years ago.
WWE in the past year has mentioned New Japan and IWGP a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
it's great. I love that they're doing that because
the acknowledgement of a wrestling world outside of WWE. There's nothing, you know. It's not before it was just kind of insulting to the viewer, in my opinion.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Dan, let's just kind of put a bow on this. We had to cover some ground today. We don't cover all the ground, but everything we liked. But yeah, let's just tomorrow night we have Saturday night's main event. So let's just kind of go through. We'll do who we want to win, who we think is going to win. Let's start it off now with the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus. You know what's funny about this one is had Notre Dame won the national championship, I think they would have put the belt on Sheamus. I really
You
do.
think so?
Yeah, I do. But since they did not, I think Braun Breaker is going to retain here. And I had just learned recently that Sheamus actually has a connection to Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And like he's
really?
visited their facilities and stuff and he has a relationship with Marcus Freeman, which is crazy.
Maybe they still put it on him. Isn't that like the one title he hasn't won? Still?
Yeah, it is the one title he hasn't won too.
And he just re-upped his contract too. I read that recently. So
yeah,
they, I would like to see Sheamus win, and you know what? I'll say Sheamus wins.
I like it. All right. Next, it's just a battle of beef. Braun Strowman against Jacob Fatu.
I missed where this came from. Why are they beefing?
I think it's because Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga have been kind of running amok on SmackDown since Solo Sikoa lost. And they've just been like attacking people. So LA Knight, they've been targeting, and then I think Strowman came in to like for the save on LA Knight, and they had like a big face off, Jacob Fatu and Strowman. Of course, this is just here, so Jacob Fatu looks really good, and he's going to look really good. And he's gonna plow through Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna see a surprisingly short match, and I think Fatu kind of wipes the floor with Strowman to prove his dominance.
I'd be surprised if it was that short, but
I'm gonna say it's less than 10 minutes.
Less than 10 minutes? That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, next Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defends against Nia Jax, who I assuming is the newest member of Raw, next to Bayley.
I guess
so. I think that the purpose of this match really is to get on NBC primetime Rhea Ripley delivering the Riptide from the top rope on Nia Jax, and that is just such a big moment for people that talk about Rhea Ripley. And yeah, that's why I think that this match is here.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a Nia Jax fan, even though I will admit that she's improved recently.
Yeah.
I think Rhea wins and probably does something, chat water cooler worthy.
Yes, absolutely. Next, we have this might end the show. It might not. We have Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens in a contract signing for their ladder match that's going to take place at the Royal Rumble. This is going to be hosted by San Antonio's own Shawn Michaels. I think it's going to be an entertaining segment, no doubt about it. Pretty cool that Shawn is in this segment, considering that the Winged Eagle title is involved. And, that's going to give people some feels seeing that, When I started watching the WWF, it was right after Shawn Michaels had become the champion at WrestleMania 12.
Does he super kick somebody?
Does he super kick somebody? That is a good question, my friend. Don't know.
I say yes. I say somebody gets super kicked
Somebody
by
gets
Shawn Michaels. They're in San Antonio. Hell yeah.
yeah.
On Saturday night's main event. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. And finally, World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther defending against the Red Hot. Main event, Jey Uso. So, yeah, I think Gunther retains here. But,
Yeah, Gunther.
and do they like
Uso.
Jey Uso? And there's
Jey
no
Uso
denying that he's over.
He's over enough to take a loss. Gunther ain't losing.
Yeah, he doesn't do it for me as much as I think he should be. Jey Uso.
Yeah, I mean he comes out and cuts the same promo every week. I'll forever be sold on him because he had Travis Scott walk with him smoking a blunt. I'm sold. He's cool.
Hilarious. Yeah,
he's cool by me.
Mm-hmm. So. All right, so that's Saturday night's main event. I'm sure we're gonna get some interesting comments from Jesse Ventura, who's also been confirmed for the show. Thank God.
Wait.
I mean, he's the gift that just keeps on giving. I can't wait to hear what he says again.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting.
Mm-hmm. Give us a conspiracy theory, Jesse, please.
Something. Just make it worth it, bro. Make it worth it.
Yep. All right. Had a great time today, my friend. But as always, guys, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And go check out our link tree. You can access it right there, at the top right of your screen. That QR code takes you to the world of YouTube and What a Maneuver and what have you.
Just buy a shirt. Just buy one shirt.
Buy our
That's
shirt.
all. Yeah, I got kids to feed.
What else should we do, Dan?
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling.